discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, this video is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering you a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. All you need to do is go to audibletrial.com/BGUnlocked. The link is in the description below, and now enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Paladins of the West Kingdom. For the record, we have not played Architects of the West Kingdom, so when that game comes in, the comparison to the two will be in that discussion. This is actually going to be an interesting discussion, at least I think, because I was miserable for the most part of that run-through. Like, I felt like I wasn't gaining any traction for at least probably the first 5 rounds. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't until like maybe half of round 5, round 6 and 7 that I kind of finally was able to do something. And in all honesty, I completely thought that you had the game in the bag. And we were kind of spitballing a few things of why, because it was what you had 62, so yeah. 7-point difference, to swing in my favor whenever it seemed like literally the entire game you were just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. Oh, because you finished 2 of the tracks. No, you finished, yeah, 2 of the tracks. 2 of these
completely. No, 3. The fortification, the monks, and the absolutions.
Right. So, and I finished 2 of them. I finished the garrisons and I finished the develops. Literally, the only reason I think things swung in my favor was for the past 2 rounds, I very much focused on endgame scoring, which are these guys, the converts, because all their stuff is endgame.
Right. I mean, I just had a few others to clean up here on my tracks.
Right. So I was thinking...
I thought we'd be back and forth.
Right, yeah. I was like... Well, because I was going to try and go for the King's Orders, which you also completed 2 of. I only completed 1. The commissions were... That's out the window. I was like, that's not happening. The Absolve, I was like, that might be possible if I can do enough prey actions to keep cycling it out. But then I'm like, that's going to cost too much money. Okay, what else can I do? Then I saw the conversion, so then I focused on developing. Then I got these 2 Guardians, and then that all those conversions raised my thing up. So then, pretty much, I think what sealed it were endgame scoring, and then those. And then the garrisons. So
yeah, you were able to overpower your power track there, your strength with those fights. Yeah, I neglected the dudes on the board. I was just focusing on building because I was having such a good flow on my personal board.
And it was interesting because the game tells you to keep people that you attack, that you kill, which Cat was keeping, but it turns out those guys don't actually ever do anything. It's all about, you keep them for people like assassins. Because it's like for each person you killed, so the assassins, I killed 3 heroes, or 3 of those symbols, so that gets me points, and then raising my track up. So after all is said and done with this game, I don't quite like it. Like, even though I was able to pull out a victory, I wasn't liking it because I was miserable, and I was like, I'm not getting it. There's something I'm not getting. Something finally clicked was what you were doing way better than what you both were doing way better than I was using your guys' abilities to their full extent. The only time I ever did it was at the beginning where garrisons didn't cost provisions, and I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be nice. And then I was like, wait a minute, that cost a lot more provisions at the end. That's when these guys should be useful. Because it's like, oh, okay, because you did it with the Absolve. Oh, it's not going to cost money. That's not going to cost money. I guess I'll do that 3 times. And it's like, huh. So, I don't know what happened. I hardly ever use their abilities. I focused on the workers. What are the workers going to give me? And how efficiently can I use those particular workers? And what I think helped was I was able to get debts and then use those unpaid debts to get more workers. Right. Because here's one of my biggest negatives. There's no drawback, really, to doing anything reckless. Like, the suspicion, I view it only as a benefit. Hey, you get a wild worker, and a suspicion, which also gives you money. And oh no, you could potentially lose, like get debt. But the debt is so easy to replace. It's so easy to pay or so easy to get rid of.
Yeah, I mean, absolutions, placing monks on the board.
Yeah, monks or garrisons out there.
I mean, I guess that just stops you from going like a full, combat build, just building suspicion to fund your campaign.
I guess, yeah. So I didn't really like that. Especially because it was like, oh man, yeah, you just keep getting debts. Luckily, I mean, they're only worth 1 point at the end. I think it would have been better that it's they're worth 3 unpaid, and it's -1 point paid. So you have to destroy it. I would have liked that better because to give you some gravitas to actually getting wilds. That's just the way I view it. I don't know what you guys think about the wilds and the suspicion.
Well,
they came in handy.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like it definitely came in
So,
handy.
I mean,
The wild like convicts are awesome to have.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, it wasn't too much of like a downside to have them.
I guess.
I mean, I guess if you hadn't built in a certain direction, like say if you didn't build religious,
Yeah.
it would be difficult because one, you're not placing monks, and that's how you get. Well, if you build combat, that means you can place the garrisons, which could.
Well, garrisons actually gave you faith. None of that, like it wasn't. It was.
Well, it's like it's like you have to do a little bit of everything.
A little bit, yeah. Which I guess is good. Like you if you focus too heavily on one thing, you're giving something other. Maybe that's what they're doing with the debt. It's like, okay, well, you have to place an absolve on the debt flipper instead of something else that might be more useful.
Yeah.
That might be their way of thinking. I will say, like, I don't hate this game by any means, but I just find a lot of things in their games to be weird. Like, so the biggest weirdness with this is you do not keep your workers. That is obviously the biggest difference between their work, and they do a lot of interesting things with worker placement. Like I mentioned, architects, from what I know, is you have a bunch of workers that start and you place as many of them in a certain location to power up the action. Raiders of the North Sea was like, I'm going to place a worker here and do the prey action, and I'll pull a worker away from here and do the commission action. That's like an idea of what it was. So it was interesting. So where you're placing workers are what other players can pick up to use later. And this one was, of course, your knights that were given to you basically helped your track, gave you workers, and then you went to a tavern and you picked up those workers, and they were all temporary. So what do you guys think of that? Do you guys like that? Do you not like it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought it was a neat mechanic. Where I was weak in some areas, like my final build of the wall there, which I thought was just baller. Like, oh, there's 4. I'm at 5. Fucking let's build the wall.
Yeah.
6 points. Look at that.
Yeah. What about you, Kat?
I was gonna say, I liked it. I liked that it gave different variation. I was never stressed out about like getting certain people to the board. Like it always seemed to work out.
That's true.
Where either I was passing to save them for later and I wasn't worried about it, or I just had enough to do exactly what I needed to do.
That's true. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I do like it. What I don't like that's kind of tied into it is I wish, so you have your 12, and I like and don't like, is you can get relatively screwed, I guess, by the way your cards come out. So when you're drawing 3, there was multiple times where I was drawing 3 and I'm like, okay, I really need to absolve, or I really need to convert, or whatever, and it's like, great! Trading gives me more money. Like, it doesn't, like, I didn't get the cards that I need. So then it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll take this guy that's the best out of my 3, and then him at the top, and I don't even really want him, and him at the bottom. Yeah. So I wish you would have just had access to your 12, and you got to pick which one you wanted to do.
It could be a variant.
Too easy.
I don't know. I didn't feel that way. I felt like I'm like, oh, okay, maybe the game's supposed to work in a circle. You find like some kind of niche of the abilities you can within the attributes that are within the game. You find a circle, and then just kind of keep. And that's just kind of what I did. I'd play with this. While it was cheap, went up here, do that. I mean, granted, I started on them. I started with like a religious build. And thought, like, okay, maybe I can work with this. And then I found it kind of was creating that little circle I was talking about. Yeah. And then when I was already up to the mid-range, that's when they became free. And I'm like, oh, fucking, hey, this is not bad.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess you kind of, where I think I shot myself in the foot at the beginning of the game was you start out with 6. Like, you'll always have at least 6 workers. And you guys went and developed, started and hunted and traded, and you did all that left side of the board. I didn't do any of that. I went straight to fortify and garrison, and I was like, oh, I already have to pass, and they're still doing stuff. So in a worker placement game, efficiency is key. Like, it being as efficient as possible with all your workers and all your actions and all abilities. And I felt like at the beginning, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to be struggling. And I was. Like, the entire time, I was like, I'm behind, like, I'm raking it. Like, I finally was able to hire some people that was giving me provisions. And, because my entire plan was attack, convert, develop. Those were the 3 things that I did. And garrison, but that got cheap later on. I like that you can make actions cheaper. I always like that whenever you can do stuff like that.
Scythe-esque in the making it cheaper.
Especially since, like, you're never guaranteed getting the colors that you do want.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Hold on, I'm trying to think of his scythe. Oh yes, when you upgrade.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yes. So I always really like that. And yeah, like, you're never truly guaranteed with who you get. So I will say, I never felt like I was getting screwed by the workers at all. Like, you had enough variation and enough ways to be able to be like, okay, crap, I really need a green. Oh, I can absolve and get a work, or I can develop here and get another worker.
Or, worst case scenario, you can spire.
You can spire, and then you get that wild. Yeah, it was weird though, because some of these goals, which I really like this track. I think that's a cool thing. That's like, okay, well, here's the first end game goal, and then the second, and the third. Now it starts adding places that you can go. So I really like that, and that's going to add variety because there's more in the box, and also when they're going to come out might be useful. But there were, oh man, where was I going with that? Oh, I was talking about the track. Oh yeah, what I think is weird is you use a worker to gain like 2 workers or something, where I was like, like, I'm not really netting 3 workers, I'm netting 2. Because, like, even here, whenever I had to go to that spot and get rid of an unspent debt and gain 3, well, I had to get rid of a guy to do that. So now I'm only gaining 2. But you still have your variety. You still have ways to get the colors that you need, and there's always something to do. Funny enough, I never hunted or traded in this entire game. All the stuff that I got was from recruiting, attacking, developing.
Well, I mean, that's primo efficiency right there.
I guess.
I mean, because these are the super basic actions that I always felt like I have to be pretty desperate to be using those, or...
Exactly, yeah. And there's always those kinds of spots in these worker placement games. I'm trying to think. Because there's a lot that the game offers. I will say, I think this game is very simple. Like, I like that. Like, simple to learn and be like, okay, well, here's the left side. That's your resource management and stuff. And then the other side is your endgame points. I really like how they split the board down the middle for what each side does. Is there anything that, real quick, is there anything that you guys didn't like?
Well...
I mean, I guess we've touched on the
Suspicion
cards,
yeah. I almost wish that they just weren't even in the game.
I mean, yeah, I guess the way they make you view them as bad, as debt and suspicion.
Yeah.
I know that the way they word it, but like once you kind of get over, I'm like, okay, it's just a juggling act.
Yeah.
And just play it like that. Just
Yeah.
like, okay, get as much as you can maintain and don't get fucked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, worst case scenario, you'll end up with 1, unpaid debt.
Yeah.
Because like you can always handle like the 1, because like you'll get shit like that, the wall, placing, and then the absolution if you're desperate.
Right.
Because like that's 1 gold, you can put it on the flip spot. There you go.
Yeah, and even with that, like, you have 2 ways of placing your people or your things on the board. I do like that. I like this little track thing where it's like, hey, depending on your strength or your faith, that's how far up this row you can go. And it's like, okay, well, I really need money, or the most efficient ones is like the prey or the flipping of a debt. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna get up on these influence tracks, these tracks, by placing a garrison or commission, or what was the other one? Oh, absolving. Yeah, absolving was faith. nothing. Oh yeah, attacking and stuff gave you strength. So it's like you get to place your stuff over there to get a temporary boost. I did like that because it was always a win-win. You have to pay for some provisions, gain faith or gain influence to go over here to gain more stuff. So I did like that. It's difficult because I can't compare this to Architects, and I want to. So I'm excited to see how that game works out and see how different it is from this one. The wall thing, that's another thing I didn't quite like because, which, I mean, I guess I can't really complain because it shot me up the strength track.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's interesting because, I mean, you're at the whim of a deck.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, I guess I'll, well, lucky me, look, oh, I got 2 workers in that thing. It's like, oh man, I could have used that. I just don't like how random it is. And you guys might have been feeling the same way, or you guys just didn't care.
I mean, yeah, I didn't mind it. I only got like 4 of them, so.
Right.
What was the question?
What do you guys think of the wall?
The wall? I mean, yeah, whim of the deck, but frankly, it didn't feel it's too terrible. It's like you're always guaranteed increase in strength, just like any of these others. It plays just like the others. Granted, you just don't get to pick. It's like Absolution. Well, you get to pick with Absolution, so you get to pick with Absolution, and
you get to pick where you go over here.
Yeah, like here and here, you go over there, you net your bonus. Essentially, that's just the same thing, except it's just a different mechanic.
Yeah.
So it's just like choose your mechanic for the little extra bonus you get when you increase your power.
I guess. Yeah.
So I don't know. It didn't really bug me too much. I mean, I could say like, oh, you got extra strength, and that really, and like, oh, you got extra victory points, and I'm like, and all those workers, and so it's.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
A bit of a
Because,
throw of the dice there, but
I will say, yeah, the 4 cards that I got shot me up the strength track and gave me the 20 points.
and like only 3 cards, you got, like 5 strength.
That's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, the 3 cheapest.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, it gives me 11, and then I got rid of a dude that gave me. Oh, where are you, bitch? There was a person in here that you got to get rid of that gave you a strength. Oh, here she is. So that's how I got to 12. Yeah, I mean it's okay. Like I don't hate it, even though I was miserable throughout the game. Is there anything that you guys particularly liked? I will say I actually, and this is because it ended up working out. I do like the recruiting, how each card has double actions. So you can either spend 1 person to get rid of them, and you still get something. It's not just like a throwaway action to be like, oh, I really don't want them to have that. Mm-hmm. You still get something for it. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like how you can hire them, and they'll stay with you, and you get bonuses for doing actions. I like that. I like how you can attack, get a bonus for doing that, and then also you can convert them for endgame points. Which, you guys know me, I love endgame. Love me some endgame points.
I was like, okay, yeah, he's getting quite a few. I'm like, is it gonna? Because like I felt like fucking secure. I was like looking at the things that you would place. I'm like, oh yeah, I've got more things on the places.
Right.
This is gonna work out. I've got the whole thing. I've got like 3 fucking completes. There's no way. And then lo and behold, the algorithms of in-game points.
Right.
And then
we were playing another game called Black Rose Wars that has endgame points, and like I think I lapped both Josh and Kat, but they were playing the game, and I was sitting there like, okay, so if you so if you do this, you'll get the points. And
we were actually enjoying our time, and he was having an autistic.
I was enjoying my time too, by winning. So yeah, I like the variety of all the cards, so that's nice. But yeah, is there anything you guys particularly liked, didn't like? Kat, I'm very curious to see what your thoughts on, because you didn't do anything.
I just had a good time. Trading and hunting.
Yeah, that's all you did. We looked over, but she's like, hey, are these worth points at the end? And I was like, oh my god!
I will say I got the most points for that.
That is true. You hoarded so much that you depleted the source.
And I had to make
which is
own.
actually, I think, an insight, a slide on their part, because it's like...
They probably didn't think somebody was going to be dumb enough to do it.
Yeah, they're probably like,
Like, someone's
should we
gonna have
add
them.
should we add some gold coins, some
Some-
gold shillings that are worth 5? No, there's so many in the bag. No idiot's gonna just hoard money.
I
They have to
just-
spend it.
I just outright stopped. Developing, and I just didn't think about doing it for a long time, and I was like, oh yeah, that's work. Because for a while at the beginning, I was like, oh, it's kind of hard to keep the money train going, and then I was like, this is easy.
Yeah, I mean
Then I
it is
started
whenever
to-
you're doing other stuff.
Then I
But
started developing again. But,
the game, I will say the game's kind of slow up until maybe halfway through. Because a lot of times, yeah, you are kind of doing the hunting, trading, and then developing to make things cheaper. And I mean, it has the same pace as Scythe, because yeah, over time, like the game starts quickening up, because it's like, oh, I'll put one attacker here to place my garrison, and I'll pray, and I'll put another, and like you don't have to. You become very efficient with your workers, which I like. I do like that a lot. Because at the beginning you're like, oh man, 2 workers there, that's a lot. Do I really want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way to make the left side cheaper. It's all your right side, which is nice. But yeah, so was there anything that you guys particularly liked, enjoyed?
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Because I remember you saying that you liked it.
Mhm. Yeah, I enjoyed the flow of it. I like the flow of the characters and the resources. You kind of pick your attack style, but now I'm like, well, like no matter what you gotta do, it seems like you have to play in some of that combat algorithm, that
Yeah.
conversion algorithm.
Yeah, I would
to have a
argue that
chance.
you have to do a little bit of everything. Literally, I did nothing. I had 1 commission, and the only reason I wanted the commission was to be able to do a free prey action.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. And I was like, okay, well, I did a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I tried some of absolving, and I got provisions and a free prey action. So, which I like that. I like how there's other. I will say I very much like how there's other routes to other things. Like it's not just a lot of worker placements. Like okay, this is the only place you can go to get food, whatever. Here it's like okay, well you can do the simple prey action and pay, or you can do an absolve that lets you pray, or you can do a commission or a garrison place over here that lets you pray. Like that's 4 options to be able to clear up a spot. So I like that. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they definitely designed it to you have to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Kat?
I mean, I'm still pretty neutral about it. It was kind of slow going.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was like about around maybe 4 or 5 where I was like, okay, I'm kind of ready for this to end. So I'm still kind of neutral on it. I mean, as far as like worker placement games, there are other ones I'd rather play.
For sure. Yeah.
Which I feel like we're getting to that point with a lot of games. We've played a lot of things, and we're like, we just kind of have good classics.
Yeah, actually, it's funny that I've had people comment on like themes. If 2 games are the same theme, they're like, why don't you just keep both if they play different? I'm like, because I can't afford to keep both. Like, I don't get to cycle through my games as often as a lot of players, a lot of people in the hobby, so if I want to play a game about dinosaurs, I'll pick the best game that I think that has dinosaurs. I don't need to keep both games. Like, and it's like, I have a bunch of worker placement games. It's like, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Great. But if I am already limited on my time running the YouTube channel to play games, then it's like, okay, do I want to play a worker placement game that I think is phenomenal? Or do I want to play a worker placement game that I think is just good?
Right.
Like, I don't have that luxury. I mean, I could always quit the channel, I'd be fine, but even then I don't see a point in keeping... Yeah, you're right, like, this game is... It's a unique worker placement game. If you're tired of that same genre, or that's the sameness of worker placement, their games are a twist on that, and I praise them for that. I think this one is actually... I like this one a lot better than the place and pick up. I think this gives you a lot of variety and a lot of strategy on who you're going to pick from your deck, and what you're going to take from the tavern.
I like this one a lot better than the dice style ones.
The dice worker placements?
Yeah.
Gotcha. It would depend on the dice worker placement game, but there's a few that definitely pop into my head that I think is way better than this one, but for sure, there have been some dice worker placement games I'm like, this is okay. I will say, I would rather play this than Alien Frontiers, for example.
I remember that one.
That was one where you had to had to do math on certain areas, and then you had to like settle on Mars.
Okay.
It's been a while since we played it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Like, and I mean, shout out to the artists. I know a lot of people like their art. Their art's weird. Their art is weird, like, and strangely detailed. So yeah, I mean, do you think... I see, and actually this is another interesting thing about the run-through. You and I did radically different strategies, and they were within 7 points of each other. So I will say that there's...
I was just fucking short.
He was so short. Your hubris!
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I get.
You're probably sitting there like...
I was so secure. I mean, I had a
idiot.
good time the whole game. I was like, I just felt the flow. I was like, the cards were like, I do this, and this is efficient, and I can.
And I'm over here like,
and look at this.
You can...
I was like, that was the first time I did a worker placement, and I was like, I'm feeling the flow.
You're like, I
feel
get it.
the energy.
I see.
And I still lose.
And that's how I knock you down a peg. It's like, don't you ever feel secure in my house. Yeah, because
any more worker placements to do.
Because I'm sitting here like, I fucking hate this game. I'm nitpicking at stupid suspicion cards because I'm like, that's so fucking dumb. He keeps getting points. Then I was like, wait a minute. End game. Convert. They're all mine. In fact, I would have got more points if Cat didn't kill the stupid guy that you got a point for all four. Like one, there was a guy like this.
It was a lady.
Oh, per four.
It was
that'd be nasty.
and I was like, okay, I need to get that. And then Cat kills it, and I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you? You have no reason to kill him.
Because I could, and also it's a lady.
Everyone, her, whatever. You can be saved. Come to me.
I'll just kill him instead.
So yeah, it was like 6 rounds, and it finally clicked. And
I like the
even then, I was like, no. Whenever I said 69, I was like, this is so low. Like Devin's gonna be like 83, and I'm gonna shit my pants. And no, a measly 62 points.
Yeah, I was like, 15, 1.
Although I will say, I did not know that, and I will say this, I like this, how the commission and the garrison, probably the two hardest ones to do, are like the most high scoring ones. I did not realize that the Absolve, the highest was a 6, a 6er, and the Develop was a 6er.
Partially.
Hell, even the Wall is only 6 points.
Well, I started on the Absolution because I was like, this doesn't need to be too bad, and it kind of worked with my faith build. I needed the circle, and that was part of it. And I was like, an added benefit. It's a thing, and I thought because I would do those, I thought that I just had just by working on those, and nobody else had really. I mean, you had the garrison. I'm like, he's just doing the lowest one. And
right.
I was just so confident.
And actually, I will say I wish there were different tiers because it is such a lower point, but I still have to do just as much work to get 4 points. It's like, why would I ever do that? Like, I wish that
you
level
just know
1
it ahead of time. I guess is there must be
that must be it. Yeah, that's the very first one you see, and I like that. I like that kind of. That kind of reminds me of Isle of Skye, how you have your objectives that are they're based off the rounds. Not really similar in any way, except just that they're in different orders. I like how those show up each time. So you're right. That actually must be exactly it. It's worth less points because you have 2 full rounds to get jump started on it, which is exactly what I did. You didn't even touch your garrisons. So I don't know. I could not pinpoint why my strategy worked. It was literally, this was it right here. This track.
Oh yeah, big points.
20 points.
Big
Yeah.
At the end. How much was your total for those? Because I got 37 points just off that alone.
I got 9, and then 12, 9, so like 21.
Yeah, so I got a whole 16 points more.
It seems like focus. Yeah.
Definitely.
Where were you getting all those extra flags from?
So the flags are here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
right.
6, 7.
I was getting those, but I wasn't getting it from any other sources.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Right.
8, 9, 10, 11, and then the one that I kicked off that gave me 12.
Okay.
So that kicks that all the way up. And I couldn't tell you my fucking this.
I mean.
Yeah,
you're blue. How'd you
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Because whenever you kill them, you get.
So it's just permanent power.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's not permanent power; it's permanent influence.
That's right.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3,
Damn.
4, 5, and then that guy got me up to 6.
I neglected a whole portion of the game, and that's where I fell. Fell flat.
Which, I will say, you neglect the whole portion of the game and came 7 points away from, so that says something about your efficiency, because I was like, just kill everyone and, working isn't working out, slaughter and convert. Tell them about Christianity. Yeah. So yeah,
Definitely seems like the better thing in in-game is to get those Because then by that time you've already had your empire built, and then you know what you need to go for conversion-wise.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, you can only have so many.
Yeah.
And it's just, and it costs you a few monies, but.
Yep. And if you label, which I did, I don't know the guy, but there's a guy that converting costs no silver. So it's definitely the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm starting to warm up to it, because yes, there is a balance to this. Mm-hmm. Using these guys efficiently at certain moments, because you're right, if you had the conversion, or if I had the conversion that cost no silver around this time, then it's just like, okay, great, now that's cheaper. Boom, 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 they're free. Fucking. And at that point, your tracks are up, so, oh, hey, conversion costs nothing, he gives me 4, or he gives me 3, so now I can go and convert whoever.
Yeah. I thought it was funny, I was looking at the cards that I didn't use, and they all have all my red guys.
Oh.
It's just like, oh. Okay.
So I guess that these kind of dictate your strategy,
yeah.
Because it's like, I got a lot of my combats at the beginning, and Cat was literally hunting, trading, and killing.
Hunting, trading, honest murderous murder.
I was an honest murderer. So yeah, which is pretty interesting, because a lot of worker placements, there are no cards. You just have your workers, you go where you want to go, and that's it. This dictates kind of what you may do because it's cheaper, or you can just do it for the workers and be like, hey, I'll just eat that cost. There were multiple times that I was like, oh, hey, this one makes fortifying cheaper, never fortified. Like I was like, oh, that requires 3 people. Well, never mind. Yeah. I guess I picked him for his things, or I just picked the best one out of the 3. So it's interesting, but. Kat, do you have anything else that you would like to talk about? I mean, you didn't really play.
You talked enough for me.
Cool. Do you agree, disagree?
I mean, I'm still neutral on the game.
You're pooping. Alright, scale of 1 to 10. We'll start with Kat.
I'll give it for a worker placement.
I think you say 4. I'm like, ooh.
Wait a minute, you guys said you were neutral. I hated it. No.
Give it a 1.
I'm gonna give it
a was winning in that.
Your hubris.
I'll give it a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
That's funny. I'm pretty neutral in the game. 7.
Well,
it's pretty
I
high
don't
score.
Be mean to it.
Okay.
6 or 7.
6. I'll say you're gonna give it a 6.
Because I mean, I guess I wouldn't. Yeah, I'll give it a 6 because I wouldn't be like super excited to play it again. That's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I was warming up, and I was starting to actually. The more we were talking, the more I was starting to like it. But I struggled so much through this game. I don't feel like I earned the victory. I really don't. Like, you feel like you just like.
I feel like I cheesed it. Like last 2 rounds, I'm just like bam bam, get a stupid debt, fucking kill it to get more people, to then use it to fucking convert people. Great. I could have been doing that the whole game, but I did it so quick and so rapid. But I guess that's the efficiency. That's what I made cheaper. So it's interesting. I'm gonna give it a 7. I think a 7's a solid number for me. Maybe a 7.5, but I'm kind of in your boat. Now, I would want to play this again, but I'm also trying to struggle with seeing how much variety there is. Like, yeah, there are more of these and more of those, so maybe in the way these come out, but yeah, like you said, there are just better, in my opinion, better worker placements out there that I would much rather play. But this one isn't bad by any means. If people are like, really, it's a fucking 9, you idiot. No, a 7 is still good. Like, it is a good game, by all means. Like, I don't think there's any part of it that's actually broken. The suspicion and debt, I wish that just was kind of... But you're right, like, they're not... The terminology, I think, is what makes you like, oh!
Right.
I don't want to get suspicion, but it's like, no, you really should use that. Get the free wilds, get the coins, and get some debt that you can easily pay off and get a point for it.
Yeah, I also thought the Inquisition was going to be way worse.
Yeah. So it's like, oh man, I don't want to have the most. It's like, oh no, I take a debt. And I lose some suspicion. That's it. Yeah. And then you just, okay, well, some spaces let you kill an unpaid debt and then get some stuff. So I like that part. So terminology kind of makes you cringe away from those, but embrace it. Embrace the debt. Embrace the suspicion. Yep. And you'll be better off. So, Devin?
I'm kind of in the same boat, because, like, with these worker placements, I have a hard time with replayability.
Right.
Because I'm like, I mean, I had a good time, but if you asked me to do it a few more times, I'm like, then it's
Yeah.
just the machine. I don't know. It's like they're fun. I feel like they click right off the bat.
The machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just okay. Now I want to tinker here.
Yeah. For sure.
And but I'm gonna give it a 7 as well.
7. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7 as well.
Awesome.
It's like I had a good time, but
Yeah.
replayability is always an issue for
I
me.
think with
these
this
kind of
one,
games.
with this one and with Architects, I think if Architects is as good as people say, it's probably gonna be in the same boat, but at least you have some variety. That's with me. Worker placements are one of those things that I couldn't play a worker placement every single time because of that very reason. I love sitting here and thinking and then it does click, and you're just like, oh, okay, I can go here to do this, this, and this, and this. I will say, this is one of those games that I actually like that we do not affect each other. It's a worker placement game where you don't touch my shit.
Right. The one time was over here.
Yeah, and that's fine. Minimal, or you attack someone, or you convert someone that I was going to, but you kind of have more to plan for versus, turn order, lucky me, I'm going to go to this one spot, and now no one else can go there. It's like, okay, that kills everything I was going to do. Here, all of it's here. You can't fuck with me anywhere. It's very indirect player confrontation, which in some games I don't really care for. I'm like, why are you guys even playing? And in this one, I think it does a really good job. So yeah, I think a 7. Now I just need to decide if I want to keep it. But that is our thoughts on Paladins of the West Kingdom, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.